Hey everybody, welcome. I am Erica Love, and I hope you enjoy hearing perspective, gaining some clarity, and doing right by yourself, and being able to apply it in a rightful way. So today, I want to take the time to talk about intentionality. Um, what is intentionality? What is the purpose of it? Like, how far can it take you? What does it look like when you're not intentional in life? What could possibly be the consequences? So there's this quote that is said, energy goes where intention flows. And for a long time I've heard that quote, but not necessarily applied. And so with this podcast, I have seen what it looks like to be intentional and what happens when you are. So I thought about this podcast for a long time. It was like one of my many ideas because I have tons of them. But I decided to get really serious about it, to be very intentional. So I had a vision. I wrote it out. I uh, created some concepts. And then I came to this realization of what I wanted it to look like. Right? I chose blue for many different reasons, but some of it was very ancestral. From the connection to blue and the peace that it brings. And I chose to have bright lights and positive vibes because that's who I am. And a little wood, some tan, all those different things. I was very intentional of what I wanted this to look like. And then it happened. It happened. And I was just like, what? Okay. So I can create a concept, create a thought, and take it from A, which is the thought, the vision, into execution. And I was like, this is pretty cool. And I've done it before, but not intentionally, right? Very different when it's intentional. But I had another thought, another quote that came to mind, and it was, a life without intentions is a life left up to me. And I started looking at people around me and people I was connected with, people I was connecting with, and I started to see some similarities and variables, some that made me uncomfortable, some that was like a aha moment, right? And to see people be very intentional about their goals, about where they want to go in life. Doesn't matter if it's health related, it's financially related, career, just the intentionality of it is so important. And so I saw people and I started to observe how people were hitting their goals, right? But these people were so intentional about what they were doing. Like there was no way that you could stop them from their path. And I'm not saying that they hit every marker, but they hit it quite a bit. And if they aren't there yet, they're definitely on the road to getting there. So I decided to do 30 days of intentional living. And when I say intentional living, that is from health, that is from financial, that is from career, that is from educating my children, that is what I'm putting in my body, what I'm allowing to enter into my body. Like I'm being very intentional. And I can already see the shifts that are happening. But then that led me to a question of why do people decide not to be intentional? And believe me, I'm definitely a part of that crew as well. And what I realize is that life is so chaotic. It's just moving so fast that oftentimes you're trying to juggle so many things, but you just leave things to happenstance. And that's really not where success is found. there's so many people that we can look at that if you take the time to decipher how did they get to where they are, and that's whether good or bad, you'll see that there was never um, either intention or there was a clear intention. And to move through life without being intentional, we're doing ourselves such a disservice. So I think this is a great topic to really get into, to really figure out why we're supposed to be intentional. One day I was sitting and I was thinking about some biblical scriptures that I've read, and some Stoicism and some Buddhist and, stuff like that. I've read a lot of different texts, but I thought about a scripture. Well, I'll just say a chapter. And that's Genesis, right? The creation story. And if you look at the creation story, like the divine was so deliberate in the creation. The sun was set in the sky for the day. The moon was set in the sky for night. There was a divide between heaven and earth, the water and the land, right? But then I thought, like, what happens when you're not deliberate? What happens if the Most High decided not to be deliberate, was just creating all over the place? To me, that is pure chaos. You wouldn't be able to tell up or down, left or right, day or night, right? And to see that the Creator took so much time and purpose and intentionality to create the way the divine did, it's a gift within itself, right? It's a gift to unpack, to understand that we too have this capability to create with intention or to allow life to just happen instead. And when I think about intentionality, I could see the difference between being reactive and being proactive, right? Being reactive, you're just going through the motions, right? Whatever happens, you have to react to it. Let it be a car situation. Excuse me. Your car breaks down. You have to react, right? Oh, I gotta go pay this. I gotta go do this, get it checked out. But what happens if you were actually proactive and you decided to keep your car maintained, right? You kept up on the maintenance of the car. Not saying that it would eliminate anything from happening, but it will give you a better chance of knowing if something's about to occur. And it also will help you prevent that thing from happening, right? It's just a thought. But let's go a little further. Not just reactive or proactive. Like, intentionality is very spiritual. It's a spiritual force, right? It's not just about setting your goal, or it's not just about this energy alignment, but it's like putting it all together. Having this target in front of you and having the tools that allow you to hit the target right where you need to. And for me, being intentional and seeing where I want to go and where I am headed, right? It really puts you in a mindset that anything and everything is possible, and that you're capable of doing it all. So for me, the connection between intention and conscious creation is imperative. It is a connection that seems whimsical at first, but it's definitely it's there. right? It's manifestation. It's the law of attraction. It's the universal law at large. It is putting it all together and knowing without a shadow of doubt that you will be where you choose to be. And if you don't make a choice, life is just going to take you wherever it wants to take you, right? Mm-hmm. You're going to get to your destination, but maybe not so easily. So this also put me in the process of thinking about, like I said, I spoke about the ancient wisdoms. Stoicism, you often see people meditating like daily, but definitely in the morning. Like they start morning meditation. This is how they choose and what they choose to meet their date with, right? So setting those intentions in the morning for them is very important. And I think that's something that we too could adapt into our lives. And then you have the Buddhists who have the right intention concept, which is aligning their thoughts and their bodies, minds, and words and their actions to have it all in sync and in flow. And that too is something that we could apply. So there's this great quote that I love so much. You are either a creator or a bystander in your life. What are you choosing? A lot of times we're not choosing anything. We're just letting things happen. What does it look like if you choose to change the trajectory? What does it look like if you choose to create intentionally? What does it look like if you decide to be cognizant of what you're putting in your body, on your body, what energy you're allowing around you, what you're studying, what you're not studying, the people you're around. Like, what does that look like when you're very intentional? Okay? And to me, I think that is a game changer in itself that needs to be looked at because we're really allowing life to just, or just bystanders and a product of the happening. And then we seem so miserable and we feel like we're suffering. And then we have this woe is me mentality, and that's not always the case. It's like, how can you shift your perspective, shift your thoughts to greener pastures? How can you be more intentional with your movements, with your thoughts, right? So before I even got to this moment, if you will, I know there's plenty of times where I was just letting life happen. And I think about how far I could and would be if I did not do that, right? I would definitely be one remiss if I didn't say I was just being, right? Which is great. And it has its moments, but I would put everybody else before me. I would put everybody else before the things I wanted to do or the experiences I wanted to have because I didn't deem myself necessarily worthy of it. And I'm definitely now in a season where I know I'm worth it. And if nobody else knows it, so be it. This is not me being cocky. This is not me being arrogant. This is just me wanting to love me and be the best version of me. Because when I create the best version of me, everybody else around me will start. Um, and that's just out of love, right? That's merely just out of the genuine love I have for people. I have for humanity. But I have to have that for myself too. And I have to be in a spot. I have to put myself in a spot to know that that's allowed, right? A lot of times we have this thing where we don't feel like we're worthy. We don't feel like we're allowed to be the best versions of ourselves. And that's some toxic stuff. That's really toxic. So it's definitely time for us to shift, to be intentional, to live out our wildest dreams. And as some of us would say, our ancestors' wildest dreams. But first you have to get clear. Gotta get clarity on what that looks like. And you have to know where you're going with that, right? In order to know that you're reaching or going towards that destination. So if I was to define intentional living, it's not just about goal. It's about being present, being mindful, and directing your energy on purpose and with purpose. I think I am mindfully aware of what I want and don't want. I am mindfully present in this moment, in this now, to know that I can have everything I ever desired. I am mindfully aware and present that my energy goes where my intentions flow. So what does that mean? What does that look like? But before we go there, like, what does it look like when you're not intentional? How does life feel? How does it settle in the body when you're not intentional? And I wrote down a couple things. If you feel like life and you're moving it unintentionally, there's a lack of direction. You're always drifting from one place to another. There's this feeling of being unfulfilled. Like there's something more. There's something I left on the table. And it creates this thing where you're just going through the motion. I'm just going through the motions. Yeah, I mean, we don't want that. And then there's this moment of constant distractions, right? Where you're constantly being distracted by other things, by other people, because you don't have your own goals, you don't have your own intentions on it. Where these other people, they definitely may have intentions, whether they're good or bad or indifferent. So being intentional definitely creates a space where we don't have to worry about being taken off course. And then also there is this repeating cycle, this loop, this insanity loop that I see us as human beings constantly on, whether that's in the relationships we have with food, the relationships we have with people, or even the relationship we have with ourselves, right? It's this repeating cycle. And you're just like, oh, I want to do something different. I want something different. It's like, but you're doing the same thing. What does that look like? What does different look like? Right? Like, do something different. I don't care if it's just like I'm gonna work outside barefoot. Okay, that's different for me. Cool. Great. That's a shift. Now guess what? Your mind is like, well dang, I should like that. Maybe I'll do that more often. Now you've created a habit. Then from that habit, you learn that you're grounded. What does grounding do? Oh my gosh, it brings so much great joy and neurons and protons. And, all this great stuff happens to your body as you're grounding. But you just decided to take a chance and do something different. Try something different. Switch up the patterns, switch up the old routines, and see what does life have to offer when you do that. Why is setting intentions so important? It brings clarity to the mind, to the heart, and brings balance, right? Brings harmony. Something we all need. And then intention is alignment, right? We're aligning with what we want. We are aligning and affirming our heart's desires. We are aligning and affirming our intention. Do you know what happens when you are in alignment? You can affirm what you're saying, what you're thinking, what you're doing, and you can do it in the space of now. It is life changing. Then there's that manifestation piece, right? You are now clear about what you want. You have now aligned to what you want. And now you can manifest what you want because you are present. And oftentimes we allow life to just happen by happenstance because we're not present in the moment. Our mind is somewhere else, thinking about something else, experiencing something else that may or may not happen or may have happened. Because often we're in this like proverbial loop of past, present, future, past, present, future. Why, if you look at those three words, the past, get back the future is far ahead. Present, it's like a present. The present is right. What does now look like for you? Then if it is only holding that present for a moment, take practice in it. Take heed to the power of it and see what really happens, right? So then I think about intention versus goal setting. Like a lot of us, we write goals, we have goals. Oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. But the goal is the outcome. The intention is the fuel for you to get to the outcome. The intention is the energetic state of being. It is energizing us in order to attain the goal, right? So if I say, example, my goal is I want to make more money. And intention is I align myself with financial abundance and take aligned action. I want to make more money. All right, cool. I'm leaving that out. I'm leaving that out. Okay, how am I going to make more money? Intention, I'm being a little bit more, not a little bit more. I'm being very self-assured of what I'm saying. I align myself with financial abundance and take aligned action. I'm saying it and I'm doing it, right? Intention requires action. Energy must move. Energy is emotion, right? And if you know anything about the human body, anything about humans, we are very emotional creatures. So to be able to contain those emotions and have it centered and be able to direct it wherever you need it to go, man, you can attain anything. And there's also this component of fear. Fear of the success, fear of doing it because we don't know what it looks like. We're comfortable in the experience we're having. But are you really comfortable? What is it? What will you gain if you go towards what you're really wanting to do? What would you lose if you don't? So That's just my rant um, on intention, on being intentional. And I definitely want to leave you guys with some actionable, tangible things that you can do to start that journey. Start being intentional with yourself. So for me, morning routine is important, right? Starting your day off how you want the day to go. So here's an example for me. I usually get up, but before I rise, I have said probably 2 things I'm thankful for. Uh, I've said the things I want to accomplish for the day, and my feet hit the floor. I'm probably doing my, bathroom, things, brushing, washing, all those great things. And from there, I'm going to make me some fresh juice, some celery juice to be specific. From celery juice, I'm going to go and do some meditation. I'm probably going to go do some breath work, and I am going to say what it is I want to accomplish for the day. Now, do I get them all right every time? No. And this is where I've learned to extend myself grace. And this is where you too have to learn to extend yourself grace. But yeah, find your morning routine. Do something that inspires you, that keeps you intentional about what you're trying or what you are. Let's take the word trying out. As the great Miss Zanetta Marie would say. Trying, there's no such thing. What are you doing, right, in this morning routine to start your day, to start the thing that you desire and to hit the target? And then after that, journaling. Journaling is a great way to keep up with how you are moving day to day and the goals you've hit and the goals you didn't, right? And some insights that you learned or been able to get on. And then speak it into existence, right? Speak it now as if it is. That's biblical. That's spiritual. Your words hold power. You have the power of life and death in your tongue. So if I want to speak life into my projects, if I want to speak life into my children, into my family, into my spouse, into my job, into my career, then I have to use my words wisely, right? So do that. Like, see what it feels like to constantly speak inspiration and affirming what you want. Not what you don't want, but what you want. Remember, life, universe, the divine, this is our word. Cannot differentiate between what we're really meaning and what we're not. It's the words. Be cognitive of the words spoken. Like, I can't remember his name. I think it's like Fred Sanford or something. This man kept saying he was dying of a heart attack on TV, and he had a heart attack. These words are so powerful. Like, I learned this from Dr. Maya Angelou. Like, I'm an avid reader of hers when I was so much younger. But the words have power, and they can heal or destroy. So speak life on purpose to yourself with purpose. The last thing is to really embody what you're doing. Embody your intention. Like, live it out now. Don't take the time to make it seem like it's not. Oh, one of these days. No, it's happening now. Believe it, know it, receive it. Other than that, no, you're right. It's not happening. It's like your life is an unfolding story. You have to be intentional with every sentence you write. You have to make it meaningful. purposeful. So I hope you guys enjoyed my little rant about intentionality, what it looks like. I hope it leaves you inspired. And if you made it to the end, I'm so happy. And I hope that you take the time to drop a comment. Tell me what you were choosing to be intentional about. And hopefully one of these days, if it's not necessarily an intention of mine, but I could feel it vibrating. And sometimes I have to respect the vibrations. We'll create like a Facebook group or something so we can all hold each other accountable and sharing our light and giving love, right? And holding space for one another. Like, so many of us don't hold space, and we need it. We need it as a community. We need it as individuals. We need it as a collective to hold space, to hold accountable, and hold with love. So I hope you have enjoyed. Love, peace, and light.